So,
Well put.
ask me a question. Fracking, shale gas.
What do you think about shale fracking
Um,
and the movement towards creating a domestic supply of oil versus a supply in which we have to rely on the Middle East for our oil?
I think one of those is good and one of those is bad. I'll start with the bad. The domestic oil we're talking about now is the tar sands, the Canadian tar sands, and they're talking about building this big pipeline all the way down through the middle of the country
Back in reservoir.
to Louisiana to get to where all the refineries are. And I think that's a terrible idea. And the reason is essentially that if we get another influx of cheap oil to the United States, it's going to lull us into complacency. There's no reason to change our society if oil is dirt cheap. And right now it is dirt cheap. We leave the lights on, we waste energy like it's, our jobs. So a new influx of oil is a really bad thing, I think. And I would encourage you to do everything you could to stop that one. On the other hand, I think natural gas is actually a really good idea because I think you know that natural gas burns a lot cleaner than oil. And it's plentiful. We're pulling it out of the ground at an incredible rate. We're going through this huge gas boom right now. And we don't even have enough capacity to store it. Like, we don't know what to do with this much gas because we've never had it before. We don't have the infrastructure to run things on gas because we're an oil-based society. And I think that's a good thing. There's a lot of environmentalists who would probably disagree with me, and I'm still new on this issue, so you shouldn't consider me an expert, by the way. I'm not a scientist. I made games for a living until 2 months ago. True. But it's a cheap, bountiful source of fuel that doesn't pollute. And energy security is an important issue. So I think we should start moving to incorporate gas and mine gas because it's a good transition fuel from oil, number one. And frankly, it's a good bone to throw to natural gas companies, but fossil fuel companies who otherwise were stealing their entire livelihood, right? If we shut off the pump, then they have nothing more to sell and they immediately go out of business. But they also...
Do oil companies pump gas and natural gas and oil?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
they coincide?
That's why they're not really called oil companies anymore. They're called energy companies.
Right.
Because they'll go anywhere where the profit is. Like, that's their business model, like, to find the resources.
There's profit to be had with natural gas.
Yeah, there is. In fact,
what kind of things do we use that run on natural gas?
Well, you don't have to run a car or an airplane on it. I mean, you can burn it, and it will fuel a power plant the same way it would, like oil.
What is gasoline? What is jet fuel?
What do you mean, what is it?
What does that
it's
derive
made
from?
Oil.
Oil.
It's made
not
from oil.
Natural
That's
gas.
right. So no doubt there's going to have to be huge technological advances, not even huge technological advances. We know how to burn this stuff already. But you're right, we don't have a natural gas airplane or a natural gas car ready to go. But if you could just replace all of the coal burning plants and all the oil burning plants with natural gas plants, that's a really big first step. And all the technology for that other stuff is really very easily achievable. So that's what I would say. And short answer to your question is no new oil and no new coal. But in contrast to my anti-fracking brothers, I would say that natural gas is a good fuel to focus on in the short term.